So when I was in high school, I had an art teacher who was essentially like Bob Ross, but young and blonde. And okay, his hair was straight, but his personality was basically Bob Ross. And he was like the coolest, just teacher in person who always gave like a really good insights while he was teaching. He had very like inspiring and motivating things to say. I'm gonna let my dog out because she's being a little jerk right now. So give me a second. So this teacher of mine was really cool, and he never used to get after me because I was generally a good kid. I'm gonna be putting up the products for anyone who's interested. I'm gonna list them down below. So I love this teacher. Art teachers are always my favorite. And for whatever reason, I was a really good kid, so I was never in trouble. But I had this bad habit of doing my makeup in class. And so that teacher, one time, he would never get after me because, as I said, I was a good kid. I would never get in trouble. But one time, he told me in front of everybody, which was embarrassing for me, but he was a really good person and good teacher, so it didn't like bother me. But anyway, the point is that he told me that, like, he was older, so I also understood this. He was just like, ladies are not supposed to do their makeup in front of everybody. And he said that it was essentially like getting dressed in front of people. And he was like, that's why people go to the powder room. And I was like, it blew my mind. And so the reason why I'm opening with this story is because for the longest time, I've wanted to, you know how people make get ready with me videos and they'll talk to the camera while they're getting ready. And, you know, I'm an efficiency girly. Like the thought of doing two things at once that I need to do is just like, it really like, it's a thing for me. So I always wanted to do this, but at the back of my mind, I always thought that it was inappropriate to do things like put on my makeup in front of people because it's just like inappropriate or it's too intimate and it just should not happen. And I was like, where did that come from? And I could swear that came, well, from my own Capricorn things, but that came from my art teacher who told me that. And so today I want to talk about mental blocks and Saturn. And I also want to talk about what the hell is going on in Hollywood, because Pluto going into Aquarius is very much like power to the people vibes. So that is one of the reasons that there's so much emphasis on unmasking what goes on behind closed doors in terms of like the upper echelons of society and like essentially the powerful people and what the hell they do to like have fun, right? Call me crazy, but I feel bad for them. I feel bad for super rich and super famous people, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. But let me open up by talking about these mental blocks and essentially this rule that was created in my mind by Mr. Burns telling me that you're not supposed to do your makeup in front of people because it's inappropriate, and it's just inappropriate. And the way that a Capricorn rising just absorbs rules is just fascinating to me. And this is true for any Capricorn placement, or if you happen to have Saturn interacting with any of your personal planets or with your chart ruler or in a particularly prominent place. If you feel strong influence from Saturn, then you're looking for rules, right? Even if you don't give you rules, you'll give yourself rules. I grew up in a very like, my parents well, my dad passed away, but they were very non-traditional people, and they didn't make a whole lot of rules for me. But you know who did? I made the rules for myself because I love rules. They make me feel safe and they're predictable. And I love that. I love predictability and things feeling safe, right? So that's where rules come from. Like the need for rules is really a need for safety and for predictability in your life, right? So rules are just like a natural part of a Saturn person's experience of life. And this has always felt good to me. I've always felt like, yeah, like having rules and making rules for myself is great, is excellent. It gets in my way in no way. It's a positive thing. But recently just one day I realized that a lot of the rules that I created for myself were essentially like prisons that I made. And you're probably like, Denisse, you knew that already. Yes, I did know that. But the way that I recently discovered this or had this revelation about it has been like really profound and caused me to question a whole bunch of other rules that not only that I make for myself, but also that society places upon us. Because remember, Saturn rules regulations, limitations, restrictions, but it also rules like the judgmental eye of society. Like, why is it that we do a lot of things that we do? It's because, well, people are going to know, right? They're going to know. They're going to know, right? A lot of things we do is for other people and to seem like upstanding members of society, right? So recently, I have a friend who I meet with every 2 weeks. We are coaching buddies and we sort of coach each other. We've become friends over the past few months. And I haven't been to yoga in over a year now. And if the last video you saw of me was when I was like going on and on about yoga, you're probably like, Denisse, what happened? You were doing yoga every day. You're right. I was doing yoga every day. But my life in the last like year has changed a lot, especially in terms of my routine, because I've been sick and because my husband's work situation changed. So my routine changed and I have an elderly dog, as I keep saying. People like think that I'm joking when I say that I'm like taking care of my elderly dog, but I'm not joking. I'm like so serious. I have a whole routine that I have to do every day to take care of her. And I do it because I love her and I don't want her to die. So I have to do all of that. And this is a very roundabout way of explaining this, but whatever. I'm doing what I'm doing and only the people that are interested are going to watch. So who cares, right? So I used to go to yoga in the morning. I'm a morning person. I identify as a morning person. I feel more energetic in the morning. I've always known as well through I'm a health nut sort of person. So I've always known that exercise in the morning is what is most beneficial. Not only from like a scientific Virgo-y sort of worldview, but also because I follow Ayurveda. And I'm a Vata, according to Ayurveda. And for Vata people specifically, there is a Vata time of the day, and that happens to be in the early morning. And so everything just sort of aligned with me being a morning person, identifying as a morning person, and feeling like I have to exercise in the morning. However, because my life changed so much, because my dog, my elderly old lady baby dog, requires so much attention in the morning, and I have to do so much work, not only is it hard and depressing, it also means that when I wake up in the morning, like I can't just put on my face and run out the door. I have a lot to do in the morning, right? And so my routine has had to change. And even though I didn't stop exercising, I still go to the gym, right? Going to the gym is not something that is limited by, like, yoga classes take place during specific times of the day. And I could go to the gym at any point, right? So I kept going to the gym. That was fine. But the thing is that yoga is something that is very beneficial for my mental health and for just like, bro, nothing relaxes me like yoga. Truly nothing. I've never smoked weed, so I don't know. But people say it's relaxing. I think it would make me paranoid. That's just me. It probably would. Because I'm a paranoid person as it is. But anyway, the point is that my friend Christina was like, hey, Denisse, have you ever considered, I'm going to need a mirror. I'm going to use this mirror. Okay. My friend Christina was like, hey, Denisse, have you ever considered, drop my makeup sponge. Have you ever considered going to yoga in the afternoons? Because you can't go in the morning anymore. Have you ever considered going in the afternoons? And I was like, well, no, it's because like yoga is done in the morning. It's supposed to be done in the morning. And well, like, no, I mean, I really hadn't thought about it. My favorite class was at 8:30 every Thursday. I was just going once a week to the class. I was doing yoga on my own at home after working out. But anyway, the point is that she was like, have you ever considered going in the afternoons? And I was like, no, but my class is at 8:30. I just can't wake up on time to do all that I need to do and go to yoga. And she was like, I know, but like maybe would you consider going to another class? And for a whole year and a half, I did not consider going to a different class. I was like, no, I can't go. Like, I would try to wake up earlier, and it just didn't feel right. Like, my routine was not able to align with going to that class because of all the new stuff I had to do. But she was like, just do it. Challenge yourself this week and go to one evening yoga class. And I was like, okay, I mean, like, I haven't been in so long, but I'm going to go. And I was like, I'm probably a beginner again. So I signed up for a beginner yoga. Look, I'm putting on the blush all over my face for all those haters who are just like, your blush looks like shit. You look like shit, bitch. Anyway, so I did this yoga class in the afternoon. This beginner yoga class. I'm not a beginner. Still not a beginner. I'm pretty proud of myself that I kept a lot of the mobility the reason why I'm so proud of my mobility is because I am an old woman in terms of, okay, from up here, I'm very flexible, but my hips were just frozen, my friends. But after going to yoga for such a long time, they opened up like so much, and I assumed that like my mobility would be back to like garbage, but when it wasn't, that's why I'm so proud of myself. Because I did keep stretching. Regardless, the point of this story is that I freaking went to the class. My mind was blown by yoga, as it always is. A yoga class, you go, you show up, and once you're there, like, you have to be in your body. You know how the whole point of meditation is to have mindfulness and to connect with your body, and there is no goal to meditation, right? And there is no goal of separating from your thoughts, right? Some people do have that as an ultimate goal, like to be able to be at peace mentally, right? But the way that my body is, the way my personality is, meditation never works for me in the same way that yoga works for me. Yoga, I don't even have to try. Yoga puts me in my body like nothing else does. I don't know if that's a yoga thing, if that's a me thing, or what, but I recommend it to everybody. I feel like I should pick up my hair because anyway. So I went to this class and my hair is looking crazy. I don't care. This is a get ready with me video. Okay, so I went to the class, my mind was blown. And what blew my mind the most, and longer story shorter, I continued going in the evenings. I'm a happy camper. I'm back at yoga. It brought a lot of peace. I needed it right now in my life. I needed peace because things are very stressful for me right now. And so, whatever. The point is that, bro, my mind was split right open because I was like, wait a freaking second. You mean to tell me that this whole time I didn't go to yoga because I was like, I'm a morning person. I don't go to yoga in the evenings. In the evenings? Then I went to yoga in the evenings. My mind was blown. I'm back to yoga. And I was like, wait a freaking second. How many other rules have I created for myself? Like, I only go to yoga in the morning. I only do this because I'm a morning person. How many rules do we make for ourselves that don't benefit us? But we follow them because we're just like, no, like, this is who I am. This is what I do. That other thing is not what I do. So how do we limit ourselves in this way? What freaking prisons are we making for ourselves through this Saturn? And I was bashing Saturn. I was like, oh my God, Saturn is terrible. I can't believe I did this to myself. I created this prison for myself. And I was essentially making myself suffer for no reason because yoga is so good for me. But because I couldn't do it in the morning, I wasn't doing it. And I was very upset with Saturn. But then, with all of this Diddy situation coming up, I reflect a lot on people's charts and things that I see in the news, right? I always want to talk with you guys about that, but I'm not like a celebrity whore. Like, I don't really care that much about celebrities to have a whole channel talking about celebrities. However, because they're in the limelight and because they're so freaking rich, they can do what they want to do, essentially, right? And so it allows us to see a lot of our worst characteristics up on stage. And so with all this stuff going on with Diddy and the Kevin Spacey documentary, of course I dig into their charts and I was just like, oh, okay, I see. And I'm the last person that you're going to see demonizing anybody. I'm not the type of person who likes to act like, oh my God, that's so shocking. I could never do that. That's not me. You're not going to catch me doing that, because I'm fully aware that we don't know what we would do if we had millions or billions of dollars. We don't know, right? And so rather than judge other people for the bad things that they've done, I like to learn. And so what I've learned and what I've gleaned from all of these people in the media and all of the stuff going on is that Saturn, even though he made me make that stupid rule about not going to yoga in the evenings, and that's annoying and stupid. And how many stupid rules do you make for yourself? Let me know in the comments if you have a stupid rule that you've made for yourself that you've since realized was stupid, like my stupid morning yoga rule. Realize that. You know what other rule is very liberating? You know how like when somebody texts you, you have to reply to them? Why? Because of propriety, right? You don't want to be rude. But the moment you realize that you don't owe anybody a response, actually nobody. Like you don't owe anyone a response at all. Is it your boss? Are you going to be fired? It's not? Oh, you don't have to reply, baby. Is it somebody that you want to maintain a relationship with? You owe that person a reply. Why? Because you want to maintain a relationship. Other than that, if it is an acquaintance, if it is, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm an extreme introvert and I have a lot of very deep, close relationships and I give a lot of time to those relationships. So anything that is outside of that, I just don't have time for, because I dedicate a lot of my time to my marriage, to my family, and my closest friends are like my family, and my dogs are my family, bro. I got things to do with these people, right? So anything outside of that, I just don't have the energy for. And the moment that I realized that I could just put my phone on Do Not Disturb, baby, that phone has been on Do Not Disturb ever since. And it's been so liberating. And that was a dumb rule. Like, I have to reply to this person. Why? Because they texted me, and socially it would be rude to not reply. Says who? Who cares? Don't reply. Do you really want to meet that person? Do you really want to see that person? I mean, they're a good enough person. They're a nice person. You just don't really want to hang out with them. So, like, you don't have to reply. But that's impolite. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? That was so liberating. So tell me any stupid rules that you've caught yourself following that you have decided or realized that they were dumb and that you've cut off. But let me go back to this P. Diddy thing. P. Diddy and the Kevin Spacey thing. I'm watching the documentary. I want to make a video about it, but I don't know if you guys are interested. I don't know how I would present it anyway. So there's that. But the connection here is that we do not, as I said, we make stupid rules for ourselves because of the things that we believe are expected of us socially. And sometimes when we are very Saturn people, we make even more rules, right? Like, oh, you have to reply within 2 to 3 minutes, otherwise it's rude. Or if it's this person, you have to, all of these rules that you make up for yourself, right? But the thing, and my personality is very much like, fuck the rules also at the same time. It's very strange. I like nuance, right? I'm a nuanced individual. But the thing with me is that I swing in extremes, right? I'll be extremely one way and then I'll swing to the other side so I could land somewhere in the middle, right? I like to explore, right? So the thing is that all of these rules can be damaging and self-restricting, like without a purpose or a need. But by the other token, we can't completely eliminate rules, because what ends up happening is that maybe parts of ourselves that are just flat out immoral, because Saturn has a social morality component to it because it's a social planet. So is Jupiter. But we're talking about Saturn and rules here, right? And what people find proper and good, that would be more Jupiter. Nonetheless, The thing is that without that, then you get situations like P. Diddy or Kevin Spacey, people who live by a different set of rules, and they don't have that pressure or that feeling of society judging them. Why? Because people don't see what they're doing. And the reason for that is Pluto, and ultimate power, because Saturn is one sort of power. Saturn is your social connections, your reputation, and the things that you're able to accomplish with your name. Just like, oh, I'm Dr. So-and-so. Oh, you're a doctor. You get respect because you're a doctor. Or, oh, I am the director of this or that thing. I am the boss and CEO of this or that thing, right? Sorry. Those things get you social power. But there's that level of social power, and then there's that ultimate power, right? It's the combination of power and money, because they're not the same thing. But obviously, if you have both, that is ultimate power. And like, I think, isn't it P. Diddy himself who said this? More money, more power. No, more money, more problems. No, that's not Diddy. It's Biggie who said that. But they were like friends, right? So like, more money, more power. Why do I keep saying more money, more power? More money, more problems, my friends, because of the other very famous quote that I always attribute and associate with Pluto. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Absolutely, it corrupts. And when there's nobody who's going to check you, then yeah, you can get out of freaking control. Because remember, control is Saturn. But when you don't live by the Saturn rules, because you're in this ultimate control position, you don't have to follow the rules of society, because you're essentially not a part of society. When you are a part of the elite, you're not living by the same rules that we all live by. Those people don't even pay taxes. Like, they are, and you're like, Denisse, what are you talking about? Look, very, very wealthy people have ways of being within the system, right? So they're not going to be in trouble. They just have ways of not paying taxes. They'll just, I'll declare bankruptcy, and then I don't have to pay anyone, and I'll just be bankrupt, but then I'll just start over again. But these are things that you and I, as like regular people, don't have access to, because we're not that rich, right? So these people have access to things that you and I don't have. And so because of that, they're living on a whole other freaking playing field. So Saturn doesn't apply to them, because they have that absolute power, which is Pluto. But right now, my friends, Pluto is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about giving the power to the people, which is why you see all of these things happening where people are being exposed for all of the harmful, exploitative things that they do. Because remember, Pluto has everything to do with power, and Aquarius has everything to do with the people, right? So essentially, what we're seeing with Pluto in Aquarius is that all of the things that were done beneath the shadow of darkness, essentially Pluto, darkness, are going to be exposed, and power is being put in the hands of the people, because that's what Aquarius rules, and that's what Aquarius represents, the common man. And so now I just want to close off by talking about why I feel so bad for super wealthy and powerful people. I have no interest in that. Obviously, like, you know, we all need money to a certain degree, to a comfortable degree. Like, you should be able to pay your bills, to have a nice life. But like, do you need to be a billionaire? Absolutely not. No. And I'm all for capitalism and freedom. I'm not a socialist by any means. I think everybody should have as much money as they want to have. That said, I don't want that much money. Let me tell you why. So the thing is that you're going to go on a crazy rant with me if you're going to stay for this. And if you're staying, it's all on you. So my thing is that I do like these mental experiments. Like, what would happen if, right? So I already went through the process in my mind of what would happen if I won the lottery, like some astronomical number, like millions, and it would suck. So I have no interest in that. I don't want to win the lottery. I'm not interested in the least. So, but let's talk about this other thing, right? So what happens when you're a very rich and powerful person, if you don't have the type of like spiritual training or spiritual inclination, what happens is that, in my opinion, this is what I think happens, but tell me if you agree with me, or tell me if you think I'm full of shit. What I think happens is that you have a bunch of money, right? And you feel some discomfort. So right now, I'm a regular person. What do I do when I feel discomfort? I watch a Netflix show. If things are absolutely horrific, I will go get myself some chicken wings. I'll get myself some chicken wings. But if you're a super, super rich and powerful person, like, what can you do when you feel like just a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of boredom, a little bit of ennui? Like, you feel a little bit lost, you feel a little bit of existential dread, you buy a private island. And you do more and more and more crazy things. Why? Because you can, right? So a normal person, when they're not feeling good, maybe they'll stop by McDonald's and I'm going to have this freaking McDonald's and it's going to make me feel better. And they'll feel better. And that's it. That's a little treat. Or they'll smoke some weed or whatever normal ass person thing there is to do, right? But when you're not a normal ass person, when you are this super, I just hit my knee. When you're the super rich and powerful person, like, I feel sorry for you because McDonald's doesn't hit the way that it used to hit. Like, it just doesn't. And this is why I limit myself so much when it comes to like highly palatable food, like delicious cookies and cakes and things like that. Not only because, well, like, I don't want to gain a bunch of weight unnecessarily. And then people think that, people who see that I'm like a healthy eater, they'll think that I don't eat junk food. I'm like, oh baby, I love junk food. I do eat junk food. I just know that it is very palatable and I like to use it sparingly. So like, if I feel terrible, I could eat a delicious warm cookie from Crumble and it'll really hit the spot and it'll make me feel better. And it's a moment of like detachment from pain or whatever it is, right? That's probably not healthy. I don't care. It hasn't harmed me thus far. And so I use it like that, right? It's a special occasion sort of treat. But if you're having those cookies every single day, and I'm being very metaphorical here because I'm talking about rich people who are super powerful and they're not having cookies, my friends. I don't think that they're having cookies. Maybe it started as a cookie and then it just became something entirely different. And before you know it, they're pooping on people. And then I'm just like, how did we get here? I know exactly how we got here is because they felt some sort of discomfort. And instead of going within themselves or connecting to a higher power and asking themselves, why am I feeling this way? And going to the source and healing there or appeasing themselves there, they just went outside of themselves to try to solve that internal problem. And when you see like the crazy ass things that these people are doing, I'm not one to yuck anyone's yum. I'm not. Absolutely not. I don't care what you want to do, whatever you like, as long as you're doing something with somebody who's consenting and who's into the thing that you're into. That's totally fine. Good for you. But the thing is that a lot of these people, some of the stuff that they like to do, especially when we're talking about Pluto, you're doing things with people who don't want those things done to them. And that is the problem. That's the problem. That's why they get in trouble. And so the thing that I have to say about that is that I feel sorry for rich people, for really extremely rich and powerful people. I have no interest in anything like that. That's why whenever I see like just imagine like this like rich famous celebrity is just like, hey, like, do you want to hang out with me? I would be like, fuck no. Like, first of all, why would they want to hang out with my crazy ass? But let's just say that freaking any of these people hit you up, I would just be like, block, delete. Like, absolutely not. These people are not normal. It would take the level of not self-control, because it's not self-control, the level of spiritual work that it would take to be able to live in an environment like that and not go totally nuts and not start doing all the crazy shit that these people do is just so high. They're not normal. They're not regular people. They have access to a bunch of things that you and I just don't have access to. So we just don't understand. So I think it's very easy to just be like horrified and be like, oh my God, can you believe they did that? And I'll just be like, I absolutely can believe they did that. I can, because they're like little kids, essentially. They have like the emotional development of little kids, oftentimes because they are famous since they're little, or they have access to a lot of money since they're little. And so their development is not the same as as you and me. So like it's not the same. So I feel bad for them. It sucks to be that famous and that rich and that powerful. It's gonna corrupt you unless you're extremely careful, or you hit rock bottom and you're very fortunate. Like Russell Brand, for example. Russell Brand and how he turned his life around, and I think he was even recently baptized, I believe. Like I love Russell Brand. I love his work when it comes to addictions, all of that, and he's battled addiction and won, and I really love him. But yeah, I think it's really hard. We don't know what that's like, so I don't like to judge people for the bad things that they do, because I'm fully aware that we all do bad things. Whatever it is that we can do that is bad, we will do it. And of course, all sins are the same in God's eyes, in my opinion. There's no, God knows our heart, I believe. And I don't think that something beneficial can come from judging other people. I think that if we want to be forgiven ourselves, we should be forgiving of others. That said, like, who am I to forgive P. Diddy for abusing his girlfriend? She's the one that could forgive him if she wanted to, right? But what I'm saying is that I'm not gonna pretend to know what it's like to be that person, her or him, because I don't know. I don't understand. I wasn't there. That said, I just wanted to talk about how rules and regulations and society and shame. At first, I was like, oh no, it's entirely bad. It's so bad. We put all these restrictions on ourselves and we shouldn't, because we should be free, etc., etc. But now I'm more like, oh, like maybe there is a purpose to having these rules and to seeing that people are going to judge us. People are watching us, and shame maybe does have a place in society. However, it should be questioned. We should question the role of Saturn constantly and think about progressing it. Obviously, that's the role of Uranus in this whole thing, in the grand scheme of astrology, right? The role of Uranus is to bust up Saturn and constantly improve it so that we make progress and we don't stay frozen in the Saturnian view of reality or how things should be. The reason I decided to make this video talking about this and in this way is because I had this rule about not showing up to make a video unless I looked this way or that way. And this is me questioning that rule and seeing what comes out of it. If I could make videos with my hair looking this crazy, with my makeup looking, I mean, it usually looks like this, but I started the video without makeup on, and people do that. It's just, I was not a person that did that, but could I gain some benefit from being a person who just makes videos whenever, right? So guys, if you like this video, if you like this idea of me having more like chatty, conversational type of content, I'm going to probably title it Denisse After Hours so people know that even though I'm talking about astrology, I'm also talking about stuff outside of astrology. So if you like that idea, make sure you write in the comments like Denisse After Hours, or let me know, just write Denisse After Hours. I'm interested in Denisse After Hours. So guys, I love you so much. Also, please, since I shared, can you share with me a stupid rule that you made for yourself that you followed that kept you entrapped in some sort of way? Let me know in the comments. I love you so much. Thank you for being patient with me. I am working on videos, but you know, with all these rules I make for myself, I put myself in a box. So I'm working to get out of that box. And this was a challenge for me. And thank you for watching. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.